Hey, welcome to Vinny Melka's Outdoors again. We're doing another fantasy fishing. I said I probably wouldn't, but then I did. I picked a team for what was it, Seminole, and I was like, well, we'll do some more of this stuff. Let's take another chance. Well, turns out I picked the number 2 dude. Remember that? If you watched my last video, the Japanese character that I picked because I knew a little bit about him, and he's a beast, man. He is a beast. He's a phenom in a sense. Pop this energy drink open. But here's who I picked on that. I didn't do all that well. I did better. I think it was 19 thousandths. I looking into that event, I actually kind of confused a little bit because I was rushing and picking my roster, and I thought for some reason in my head I conflated Lake Seminole with Santee Cooper of all things. So I ended up picking. I was like Patrick Walters, picked him. And then the Santee Cooper thing is what really threw me off. And I was like, well, I'm going to go with Brandon Polinick. And a bunch of other people picked him anyway. It's like, well, even if you're wrong, I guess I was like, yeah, it's a solid pick. But he did horrid in that tournament. A really bad finish. I went with my California boy, Brian Smith again. And then Kiowa Fujita. And then John Suckup again, because I didn't think he'd have 2 bad tournaments in a row. Everybody kind of did fair besides Fujita, which he rocked it, man. So that got me thinking, since we did well on that, I went ahead and put in Seminole. This isn't going to help you because Seminole's going on as I'm filming this. But I went over to the MLF and I was trying to figure out how to do the invitational stuff, which took me a minute, but I did it. I don't know. It's maybe for you is super easy. Let's go down my roster and here's some of the things. So they're in Clarks Hill. And judging by these other events that are coming up in Florida, and then on Lake Seminole, seeing the way the fish are, seeing how they're acting, I based a lot of the stuff off of that. A lot of what my picks. So I went off Flight 1. You have to go down there. I went with my boy Tayao. I figured he has some momentum coming up from the other invitationals. Joshua Weaver, Mark Daniels, Jesse Millsaps, which I know a little bit about him. I thought this would be in his wheelhouse, and Michael Neal. It's hard to go wrong with Michael Neal in this kind of situation. And yesterday, everybody did not so hot. They're right in the mid, or I think Ty is the lowest one at 100th place, and then Michael Neal 16th. Not really a bad pick, really. It was my Flight 2 guys that I did pretty darn well besides one, and I went with. I thought I put that other dude on there. Oh yeah, okay. So I went with Keith Carson and John Cox, because I figured those 2 guys, they're due, and they're always solid when you get into these shallow tournaments. And I got to see some of the lake. I was like, well, these guys should be. Jacobo Galeli, he is just been on fire. He's a guy, I don't know if anybody's really talking about him, but I've been watching this dude, and every tournament he goes to, he's putting up solid finishes. So threw him on there. I went with another West Coaster, Brett Height, because just got to keep. I have a thing for West Coast guys because that's me. And then B-Lad. I thought Brian Latimer would have a better tournament, but he's my lowest placer right now. He's at 129th. And we'll see what happens throughout today, because right now they're on the water. But I'm in 3,000th or 600th place so far on this one. And excuse me. So I went with a lot of those guys just because of their strengths and just kind of feeling, and it seems to be working out okay. Granted, 3,000th, whatever. Excuse me. 3,000th place isn't like the best thing in the world, but it's considering how many people play this, it's not bad. Now I did another event. If you go to the Bass Pro Tour, where is that one? That one's on Lake Norman, North Carolina, and I might have conflated that a little bit too in my mind with the invitation or Seminole. Because I was looking at all these. But I'll just go over my picks. This one hasn't happened yet, and this one might actually help somebody just think about some things. So you got your Group A, starts on the 8th of March. I went with Brent Ayler, West Coast guy, but also just the way that Lake Norman sets up, I think that he has a good chance of doing well. And then Jordan Lee, I think, for some reason, I just have this feeling about him on this one too, especially now that that five fish format's in. I have a feeling that this might be one where he does really well. And then, of course, you got to go Jacob Wheeler. I mean, as much as I'd like to pick somebody else, the guy consistently, even if he has a bad day, he comes right back. And then Josh Bertram, I think it's going to set up for him. And then Anthony Gagliardi, I believe this is in kind of his neck of the woods. I think it too will set up for him from what I mean, I don't know contemporarily, but from the past, how he used to fish and when he was really fishing really well. I think he should be good with him. And then I went with, this is Group B, Ottifo. I mean, no brainer in my opinion. And then guys that travel kind of together that I think with like Wheeler and them that I think will do well. Some of them had not a good tournament, the last tournament, and I think they're ready to turn around. You can see it if you watch any other videos. And that's, we got Adrian Avina, which I think he actually, I don't know if he did that. He didn't do that bad the last one, but you got Dustin Connell and Mark Daniels Jr., who had kind of a not so great tournament the last BPT. I think they're ready to get out of that Florida bug and just get into something that's going to be more in their wheelhouse. And then I went with another West Coast guy to round that one up, Cody Meyer. I think there's times when he can really do some damage. I think he's an amazing angler. He just needs that right thing to happen, you know. And so he's kind of like I have this just a feeling about him, you know, that this might be his time. And then my tiebreaker was like 78 pounds. I just put it that way. I don't know. I don't know how Lake Norman is in the recent number of years or what it's putting out. Excuse me. I have no idea. I don't really keep up with Lake Norman, but anyway. So right now, that event comes up here in like a week, and right now what's going on is the Clark's Hill. And if you do well in that, to me, because there's a lot of anglers in these invitationals comparatively, and I think if you do well in that, then hey man, that's a good pick. I think I've done pretty well so far, and I think that this today will parse out. Hopefully, I got two picks in Ty Al is 100th, and I think Brian Latimer is 129th, and I expected Brian Latimer to do a lot better. Especially he had a pretty decent showing in Florida, and with some of that momentum coming in closer to home, that he would at least be able to pull out. I can't believe he got 8 pounds. I thought maybe, you know, he'd pull out 12 on a bad day for him there, you know, 10, 12-ish, kind of like what some of these other guys were doing that were just like in the mid tier. But I think he should hopefully come back. I think he's been fishing pretty darn well, and we'll see. But we'll see how it shakes out. It'd be nice to do very well in this. But I mean, I don't know how much. I'll do some of this Spanish fishing just because it's kind of fun, especially if you're not on the water. You get to get involved in this. It's kind of like betting almost. I'll probably do another one. We'll see how we do on this, and then we'll probably do, or I might as well just keep going. And you know, really, I was looking at this. Granted, I missed the on the invitational side of things. I missed the first event. I just didn't really put that much effort into figuring it out. And they have some pretty decent prizes if you were in the top of you know, this MLF fantasy fishing thing. It's pretty, I don't know if this is invitationals or is BPT. Anyway, some of the prizes, go look into it. Some of the prizes are pretty stout, like a Phoenix 818 and then a Toyota Tundra, which is pretty cool. I might be talking out of my ass or something, but I can see it on here. I'm just not going to read the details because I just don't feel like it right now. It's in the morning. I'm going to watch some of this live on Clark's Hill and then do some stuff. And I'm working on my boat too. We had to fix a stabilizer arm on a Lowrance Ghost. So I'm waiting for that stabilizer arm to come in. It's really kind of hindering us because if you go in any rough water, I had like jerry rigged the old one, but it's just split in two. So it's just not safe. It beats up the fiberglass. It tears up the front, especially hit any waves. It's really imperative that I have that stabilizer arm before I go out of the water. So we're waiting on that. Should be here any day, and then we got to go get it cut, throw it on there. I was trying to look out how to engineer something that like a really quick, a quick release, like lockdown stabilizer arm. Like I think TH Marine makes something very similar that some people have rigged on the Ghost. But I just don't have the time or the tools where I'm at right now to properly build one. So we're just going with the basic Lowrance stabilizer arm. we got a couple other things we need to do to the boat. I mean, it's ready to go. Actually, once we get that stabilized arm, we can hit the water. But there's some other little things I want to do. Of course, I got a head unit that's down to on the front. It's not the end of the world. It's Lowrance head unit. I don't even use it more than just locking it, following waypoints and whatnot. So, because I'm running live scope off their Garmin, and we might look into something like that further on down the line, replacing that. Right now, I'm not too concerned, especially this time of year, but down the line. But hey, owning a boat is a quick way to like just pile money down a tube. So if you don't have support sponsors, you don't have like a 6-figure job, it's it's kind of tough to keep up with all the maintenance sometimes, especially as you get an older boat, which an older boat's the way a lot of us have to get into this for cost, but then you got to make sure you do the maintenance the right way. So I've kind of been, after that one season, and then last year I kind of neglected some of the things I needed to do. So like you've seen on one of the videos, we did the ratchet strap, the winch. We did the winch, and that looks good. That's there's a couple other things I need to do on the front end of the trailer, and check tires. And I had one year when I was on the NPFL, I had the one of the whole brake systems rip off there, which is unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. So we're running on one brake. We're going to kind of disengage that thing so that it's not applying pressure on one side of the trailer, causing excess wear on tires. Granted, it's a little more work on the truck, but overall it's going to reduce a lot of the stress, especially on axles and tires and wear, and hopefully save you a tire or two, or save me a tire or two. Anyway, talk to you later. Peace.